I want to check out this video I found on YouTube. This guy played the War Within alpha for 45 hours, and he's sharing his thoughts and showing some of his gameplay.
Spent the last 45 hours playing the private alpha.
I want to check out what he has to say.
To Blizzard, and this is my honest first impressions and takeaway from the private alpha and Q&A with the WoW development team. The short of it, WoW is back, folks. It really is, and it's bloody gorgeous, and let me explain why shortly.
Okay.
This video is a first impressions review. I'll keep it broad, no deep dives into...
I love when people say WoW is back. That gets me curious, because like then you get to really see why they're saying that. Then they're going to give you the reasons why they think WoW is back. And you know, when they say WoW's back, that means WoW hasn't been here, which means WoW has been in a low period through Shadowlands, and then Dragonflight was good, but it like wasn't good enough to like bring the large portion of the player base back. And then SOD came, and then SOD gave the massive number of boosts to the player base. And so trying to get people to play retail again, I think should be Blizzard's motive. And I'd like to see where Blizzard is going with that strategy. And so maybe the War Within Alpha is a good place to for us to get a peek at what their future holds for us.
Dungeon mechanics or boss designs, if you're into those details. Live on this YouTube channel are already 6 other videos that cover literally everything you need to know from the War Within Alpha. They cover namely all 8 dungeons coming into Mythic Plus in the new expansion, preview of the brand new raid in the Rubar Palace, a full tour of the new capital city Donegal, everything you need to know about Delves, the brand new feature coming in the expansion, and a complete playthrough of 2 separate dungeons, Cinderbrew Meadery and the Rookery. All these videos are neatly organized in a playlist linked in the video description.
Wow, so he did everything already in the game.
So let's start, and let me talk about why the War Within signals a glorious comeback for retail WoW. We must start with warbands. This is the new feature that stole the show at BlizzCon.
Okay, awesome.
The loudest cheers were reserved for this. In essence, warband simply means account-wide progression for almost everything.
W.
It's clear why it's the top of my highlight.
We have needed account-wide reputation, item sharing, bank sharing for so damn long. I'm glad that it's finally here.
Alpha. Blizzard has made a monumental shift in their philosophy towards making progress shared across your entire account, across all of your characters. And they told us behind closed doors,
controversy, what's up, buddy?
Conference that starting in the War Within, this is a philosophy they're adopting for the future. And from the moment I logged into the alpha, it's clear. Blizzard means business. The warband login screen greets you. You have your characters gathered around.
I like the new login screen.
Pets
it looks clean.
If your class uses them, a really nice touch. But gone are the days of a singular character with a major city as your backdrop. WoW is here to embrace you playing multiple characters easily, and is more than just a login visual treat. Ion Hazikostas explained that Warband is set to redefine gameplay, emphasizing almost universal account-wide benefits everywhere. This means easier farming for transmogs, gearing for your ults where you can send gears from your main, and a general easing of previous restriction. This is a big nod to player freedom, letting us decide how we want to have fun in WoW.
Alt friendly is good.
Blizzard that is seen as the fun police. Gone is the belief you need to slog for your gear, your player power through repeatable and grindable days.
Yes, awful.
Cynically seen as many of us who took a break in Shadowlands as a cheap way to boost playtime metrics. The warband feature in the private alpha was a clear indicator that the old ways are gone. And we saw this with the drops and vendor rewards in the alpha build. Account-wide is here to stay. And in the private alpha, the warband feature even lets you track the same quest progress across different characters.
Right there, bro.
During a closed-door interview, the dev team shared with us creators that the warband is not just a new feature, but a major overhaul in terms of how they manage player data. Traditionally, while player data was character-specific, requiring substantial effort to make anything account-wide from the development team. Now, with the groundwork laid by the warband system, achievements, reputation gains, and gear rewards are by default account-wide, without additional work from the dev team.
That's such a major W. Just the actual idea of warbands. And this is, I mean, just everything account-wide is kind of like the surface of it. I think he's going to get in here to the gear sharing thing, which I'm really, really excited about, is being able to farm gear for my alts with my main character. That is one of the best features I've ever heard. So I want to see if he touches on that.
Classes and specs and ults for Mythic Plus, the warband implementation in the alpha is what really excites me. While it's becoming more alt-friendly than ever, we're not all able to grind endlessly for power anymore in our adult life, and it's comforting to know I can enjoy all my classes at a high level without the tedious grind that I used to be required to do. Next up is Delves, and I will admit I'm wrong here, especially after playing the alpha. I wasn't 100% sold on the new Delve content when it was announced at BlizzCon.
Okay.
I assumed back then it would be very simple, easily
like
upgearable
Torghast
content. But after getting my hands-on time in the alpha, I completely changed my mind. Now, for a detailed deep dive on Delves, check out the dedicated video live on this channel. But here's the gist. Delves are a new type of PvE content in WoW's The War Within expansion. They are designed for solo players or small groups of up to 4. As you explore the new continent, you will sometimes chance upon entrances to Delves. And Delves are scalable in difficulty, and you can select the difficulty.
So it's Mythic Plus for solo player. I mean, this is essentially Torghast, right? Like, this is what Torghast was. Is like a solo, or you could group and do it. And you always group because it made it easier. But like, essentially, this is like a version of Torghast that they've added into the game. I don't know what kind of gear and stuff that's going to come from it, but it's interesting. I mean, it's just another option like to go with a smaller group. Yo, Mac, what's up, buddy? We both died, I heard, Mac. In Hardcore WoW. Captain Zad, we pushing keys soon? Yo, you know it, buddy. We'll be pushing keys in the War Within pretty soon.
Difficulty levels and the better rewards that correspond to them as you progress. You go into Delves for various different activities, from battling enemies, rescuing allies, to defeating bosses and discovering treasures. A unique feature is the follower system, specifically Brand Bronzebeard, who has his own talent trees and abilities that levels up as you progress through the Delve and you earn follower XP. It lets him learn interrupts, crowd controls, AoE DPS cooldowns.
Okay.
And you can even toggle amongst the other roles you don't play.
Okay, finally, they can just get rid of the players and let an NPC actually press buttons, because you know everyone in your group is not going to kick anyway. So finally, Blizzard has figured it out. You have to replace the players with NPCs if you want to prog in the game. Perfect.
Play, for example, as a tank, that will be a healer or DPS. Now you might wonder, what's in it for me?
Wait, can we get
as an
these in
endgame
Classic
player?
WoW?
The answer, really straightforward. Gearing your ults. As you progress on your main character, you will unlock higher tiers of delves and, more importantly, level up your follower. And this progress is applicable to the warband system.
I don't have a capture card,
This is also
Mac.
echoed by Blizzard in a private Q&A. They mentioned that at the end game, your follower could become very powerful, hard carrying your freshly minted ult to get starter ult gear in delves when you first start
that's a
out.
cool idea.
And from what we know, delves provide.
So your main can level up your NPC, and then your NPC can carry your ults through the delves.
Two main ways.
Through lower
Number
level
one,
ones.
Directly at the end of each delve run is a treasure chest, and while these gear rewards might not be top of the line, they offer fair compensation for starter gear, considering how you can complete the delves in 5 to 10 minutes. More importantly, for endgame ult players, delves also contribute to your weekly vault. This is brand new, and the highest tier offering in delves actually gives rewards comparable to a M+5 in
No, okay, the highest tier. So you get a box open from your delve.
the new expansion, which is the same as doing a +15 key in the current Season 3 of Dragonflight. Blizzard designed delves not just for players gearing fresh ults, but also for those less interested in traditional endgame content like Mythic Plus raids or PvP.
So it is more for casual players, right? I don't know if Race to World First people will be messing around in delves, but you don't have to log in, find 4 other players to do a Mythic Plus with. You could log in, do one delve, and get a piece of gear if you're casual. And that's great. You need to appeal to the casual audience, and I think that this is a good system. You know, just another thing to do in the game, which is awesome. Shred, I'm sad. A GM just teleported me as I was about to discover something new. Shred, I'm sorry, bro. You got to stay in bounds. Dang.
This approach gives
They got
players
you.
way more freedom in how they engage with WoW, as you're doing this PvE content in a judgment-free zone. Just you, your friends, and Brand Bronzebeard. Now, during our discussion, Blizzard also highlighted that delves would feature random changes in enemy and trap placements, keeping the content fresh as it scales. With various zones, themes, and varying difficulty tiers, I do think delves turned out to be a great addition, especially for gearing fresh ults. It's an always-on catch-up mechanism in the future, and I intend to fully exploit it for my ults. Next up, the new Mythic Plus dungeons. Naturally, as a Mythic Plus enthusiast, I've already previewed the 8 new dungeons in a detailed video on this channel, link is in the description, but I'm impressed with Blizzard's response to community feedback on the dungeon bosses.
Good.
4 out of the 8 dungeons as of the private alpha now only features 3 bosses. Likely a nod to the unpopular tyrannical affix. It seems Blizzard acknowledges the dislike for tyrannical affixes on certain weeks, but they aren't quite ready to remove tyrannical entirely. So as a compromise, they're opting for fewer bosses overall. So half of
Okay, that's a good compromise. Now, a big problem in retail, guys, is some of the dungeons have more than 3 bosses. Some of them have 5 bosses. And on tyrannical weeks, it makes those keys insanely hard to do in comparison to the 3 boss dungeons. I think that's a really good idea and a good compromise. They're not getting rid of tyrannical, but they are removing some of the bosses, or just going to keep all the new dungeons at a 3 boss level. I personally love the faster Mythic Plus dungeons, the 30-minute dungeons. I feel like those are the best ones, or I could even go for less because it doesn't waste your time. If you do trying to do a 40-minute timer and you fail 30 minutes in, it just feels bad. And so I feel like the shorter that the Mythic Plus is, the better. That's why I love, dungeons like Atoll. The shorter ones like what's it called? The dungeon that everybody loves in BFA. That one, dude. Those were some of the best ones that ever came out. And Freehold, yeah. Freehold and Atoll are some of my favorite dungeons ever. And so keeping a 30-minute timer is crucial. Yo, what's up, little guy? What up, boy? His heart. Boosting my alt install Cades if you need an alt level. Oh, thanks, bro. I might be calling it right here. This hunter might be my last alt.
the dungeons now only have 3 bosses. This change appears to be a direct response to player feedback about the length and taxing nature of the dungeons in
Shorter
Season 2
is so much better.
Class, which could make completing a weekly key a chore. Now, from what I've seen, the new dungeons are designed to be quicker, more streamlined, and way more snappy. For instance, the Rookery is located right beside the brand new capital city. Talk about extreme convenience to get your weekly key done. And visually, some of these dungeons are stunning, like those in Hallowfall, featuring a gorgeous skybox with a glowing artificial light source crystal that shifts between light and dark, reminiscent of a Naru. The purpose of this light source remains a mystery, and that's for you to find out for yourself in the new expansion. And aside from that, there's a variety of fresh visual themes, including a dungeon that transits from an airship to a ground-based combat within the same instance. These new elements suggest that Blizzard is actively experimenting with dungeon environments, and that only bodes well for people like me who love Mythic Plus. Hero Talents, yet another feature I was desperate to test on the private alpha. And I can tell you, they did live up to the hype generated.
For real, Mac? That's awesome, bro.
Now, big disclaimer. I think not all the hero talents are perfectly balanced. Some clearly need way more tuning and way more refinement.
So hero talents. This is a paladin. And so you have your normal tree, and then you have this hero tree thing in the middle now. And it looks like you can go with 2 separate segments of the tree. So not only do you have your kind of complicated talent tree, it can definitely be daunting to like open up for the first time. You're just kind of overwhelmed. And then now there's an additional talent tree that you can put 11 points into, it looks like. And you can be a Templar or a Lightsmith. Lightsmiths have developed such masterful control over the light that they're able to wield it tangibly and employing constructs to empower their weapons and defenses to protect their allies. Templars stop nothing to bring justice to the wicked. They call down hammers of light, devastating combinations of physical and holy attacks to vanquish their enemies. So one's more defensive and one's more offensive.
An alpha, and they successfully captured the essence of class expression, excitement, and freedom showcased during the BlizzCon debut. Hero Talents in the War Within allows for seamless switching between hero talent choices at the click of a button. Finally, I can explore different aspects of my class fantasy without incurring any cost. A massive leap from the restrictive covenant system we had back in Shadowlands, which often felt like I was being shackled by the jailer into specific choices. Now, I know the biggest concern about hero talents is whether Blizzard can balance them properly, considering that forget we had the big issue about Covenant balancing in Shadowlands. However, Blizzard's handling of extensive talent trees revamp in Dragonflight gives me reasons to be optimistic. Despite the inherent challenges, the spread of spec DPS dispersion and output in raids have been more balanced than it has been for a long ass time. And yes, there will always be flavor of the month specs, no matter what. But Blizzard's quick response to feedback and adjustments during Dragonflight showed a commitment to balance and player satisfaction. Are there talent trees that need a lot more work from Dragonflight?
I agree with that,
Yes,
Shred.
but they are the minority.
They should
and from what I've seen in the alpha, the foundation
ease
for
players
hero
into
talents
it during
is
the leveling
solid.
process.
And Blizzard
but
continues with diligent tuning and remains responsive to community
most people are already leveled up, so they just kind of you just get thrown into these new systems right away. Like whenever they do a complete revamp of a system and you're already max level, it's like, whoa. You know what I mean? Instead of easing you into it one talent choice at a time.
feedback, especially those from the class forums, there's a strong potential for hero talents to be a highlight in the coming expansion. It's no small feat to tune the hero talents properly, but given their track record in the Dragonflight expansion, I'm hopeful that these new hero talents will be warmly received by the time launch day comes around. Next, let's talk about the story. As someone who usually focuses on Mythic Plus and the more sweaty aspects of WoW, it says a lot that I'm dedicating a segment of this video to the story of the War Within. I won't spoiler you with anything, but just know from the first zone that we got to test in the alpha build, there are already moments in the main story that made me do a double take, like, did I read that correctly? During a closed-door press Q&A with the Blizzard dev team, someone asked the question regarding the story, and Blizzard kept their lips sealed, almost in a you will see sort of manner. And I can't wait to see everyone's reaction to certain developments. And this is in line with what Chris Madsen said at BlizzCon. Indeed, The War Within kicks off Blizzard's most ambitious storyline to date, and they wasted no time in showing you so. There are gripping threads to pull at, like Xalatath leading the Nerubians and a connection to being an old god. There's the mysterious zone of Holofall dominated by a massive Naru-like crystal that swaps between light and dark. A possible hint at the themes of the next expansion called Midnight, which revolves around the cosmic battle between light and void. And remember, these are just public details that we learned from BlizzCon. The alpha was packed with unexpected twists, and I'm just being careful here regarding spoilers. Reflect on the success of Wrath of the Lich King. It was successful because it hinged on the anticipation that was being built up from knowing that the Lich King will one day arrive ever since WoW Classic. So when the famous Wrath trailer finally dropped, it set the internet on fire. And The War Within aims to capture that type of excitement, setting the stage for a 3-expansion saga similar to the arc of WoW Classic, TBC, and then Wrath. And from what I've seen from the first few quests in the alpha, we are in for a thrilling start, and I can't wait to see your community reaction when the story unfolds. The next thing to cover is not really a feature, but it's a commitment. Blizzard continues to listen. And this commitment to listening to player feedback is clearly evident in the recent Dragonflight.
Blizzard hasn't listened to player feedback, we felt like, for a really long time. And I feel like Season of Discovery is the first time that we really felt like we have this connection, or this phone line to the devs where they're actually hearing what we have to say. If that transitions into retail, I can see it just being a really good thing for Blizzard as a company to really take what the majority of the player base is saying and wanting, and making it and turning it like into action.
Expansion, which is often seen as a healing expansion due to its responsive development approach. This time around, they're really listening, and not just listening, taking action. My time on the alpha and private Q&A showed me that Blizzard is doubling down on this player-focused approach. Here's a few improvements that is highlight-worthy. The first is NPC work orders. They recognize the frustration of players in Dragonflight struggling to find crafters during off-peak hours in Dragonflight, where you just wanted to fulfill a very basic work order. So, in The War Within, Blizzard is introducing NPC systems to handle work orders in the new continent, which means no matter when you play, you potentially can get your items crafted by NPCs, instead of waiting for actual human beings to respond to your trade chat. Then they also have revamped mount animations. After the positive reactions
3 phases,
to the new
3 months,
dragon riding
baby.
animations,
3 phases,
Blizzard
3
has
months.
gone
Hell
back
yeah,
to the old
Yuri.
world to update
Thank
the
you, man.
animations for older mounts. For example, Mimi Ron's head now features a new open and closed mouth animation while flying. And this wasn't necessary, but it's a welcome nod to enhancing the player experience even with older content. Now, I don't have footage here, but it's something covered in the closed door press event. but you can definitely try it out for yourself when you get hold of the War Within. Other mounts will also be undergoing similar treatment from what we learned. Next is UI overhauls. Blizzard continues to refine the user interface that started from Dragonflight. With the War Within, there's brand new quest icons now to differentiate between profession tasks, main campaign stories, optional side quests, even flight masters have brand new icons. And these changes might seem minor, but they're part of Blizzard's commitment to lay a solid foundation for the game's futures in the many years to come.
Right.
Even something as simple as the way they render water. There's been a technical upgrade. In the new expansion First Zone that we got to test, Blizzard's devs told us that if you observe how the waves actually hits the shore, it reveals a brand new level of realism.
We're checking out the alpha right now, Fleck. We're seeing what this guy has to say about it.
That doesn't bring Blizzard more dollars in their pockets. It's done simply out of love. And as a side note, Blizzard also mentioned to the creators in a Q&A that they're even exploring new methods to distribute tier sets more freely, further beyond than what they already offer in Dragonflight. And these changes, while some might seem trivial, not even mentioned on the press release, collectively they affirm Blizzard's new renewed focus on enhancing player satisfaction and game quality. It's clear they're investing in both major features, like the warbands and the delves, but also at the same time subtle refinements to ensure that WoW remains engaging and responsive to its community's wishes and feedback. Now, playing the War Within Alpha was a homecoming moment for me, and I think it's largely because of my feelings towards the new expansion coming from Dragonflight as compared to stepping into Dragonflight after Shadowlands. Shadowlands left many of us disappointed and shattered. It's no secret. Dragonflight was always perceived again as a healing expansion, almost a reset where a lot of people watched on the sidelines as Blizzard focused on correcting course, rebuilding game fundamentals for a solid future. They completely nuked borrowed power systems, a major player complaint since we started doing island expeditions in battle.
Yeah, dude. Ever since Island Expeditions, man, it's been really bad, the borrowed power systems in WoW. The one thing I just don't like about Dragonflight right now is how long it takes to upgrade all of your gear. The Flightstone system is terrible. Once I get a piece of gear, I don't want to upgrade it. I just want the piece of gear. Like, I already earned it. I got it. I don't really want to, like, spend the rest of the week running the same level 16 over and over and over, so that I can upgrade one piece of gear, and then if I get a new piece of gear out of the box, I have to run that same dungeon over and over and over to upgrade that new piece of gear. It is not fun, it is not alt-friendly, and it needs to go. And so I'm hoping that they change that in The War Within.
Battle for Azeroth. And their commitment in Dragonflight was evident. I've been playing Mythic Plus at the level I want without mandatory maintenance time or repeatable world quest. During the private Q&A, Blizzard again reiterated their departure from the old grind systems of player power, confirming their new approach is here to stay. Their responsiveness was further demonstrated in how they revamped the talent trees and class designs during Dragonflight. While some specs are better than the others, the overall improvements from Shadowlands was notable. And this is best reflected in the subscriber growth discussed at GDC 2024. We have come such a long way since the disappointing Shadowlands expansion. And this brings us to the War Within.
Look at that, look at that graph, man. Look at how many people were playing when Shadowlands came out. Everyone thought Shadowlands was going to be the greatest thing ever. And holy crap. Everyone thought Shadowlands was awesome. I remember the first week of Shadowlands was so hype. And then everyone just quit. Yeah. Dragonflight didn't bring back people very quickly. And we're all kind of, everyone's kind of just like seeing how Dragonflight is. Now, Season of Discovery is what brought everybody back to the game.
Expansion. And this brings us to the War Within. Potentially the most crucial expansion in modern retail WoW. Dragonflight allowed Blizzard to stabilize and return to basics effectively, setting the stage for the team to unleash their creativity in the War Within. And if you look back at the most successful expansions, Legion with its artifact weapons, Class Order Halls, Mage Tower, Wrath of the Lich King with memorable raids like Udwa ICC, MOP with challenge modes, it's clear that standout features are what defines great expansions. And based on everything I've covered in this video, I think you probably see why I say that WoW is back and it's so bloody glorious to see it back. The War Within builds on solid foundation laid by Dragonflight, which itself corrected course from the wreckage of Shadowlands, and now WoW is truly ready to soar into a brand new era. And as Magni Bronzebeard would proudly say, we have repaired the wounds of Azeroth. And now let's journey within, a brand new era awaits, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this honest take of mine on the War Within closed alpha, and if you want to stay tuned to more developments related to the expansion, I got your back. More exclusive alpha and beta coverage on this new expansion coming.
That's awesome, man. This is really awesome that, this guy makes really good coverage of the alphas. He gives us an awesome explanation of all the new features, and he's just a really good YouTuber. I haven't really watched many of his videos in the past, but Quasi, wow. Thank you for that video. That was awesome.